Tiffany. Welcome back to my channel, Living Life with Tiffany. I hope you guys are feeling well and doing well. So let's get right into it. So in my prior videos, I was trying to debate whether or not I wanted to go through with another surgery. So within, I say, 3 months maybe, I decided to go ahead and have my second oral surgery. So basically, I had surgery to remove the bottom of my teeth because they was really messed up. They was in really bad shape because of lack of iron, nutrients. They started to break. So I decided to go on with the second procedure and getting it done. I had a big fear into getting the surgery, getting them all removed at once, because the first time I went through it, everything was all right, but it was a long, painful road to recovery. But luckily, I didn't have to be admitted. But this time around, I got really bad off sick to the point that I almost died. And it's basically because I went under, my body wasn't fully prepped properly, and it just went crazy ever since. So I got the surgery done on April 3rd, 2023. I went through same-day surgery. After same-day surgery, I was sent home to recover. So, that's when I began my recovery. On April 5th, I was feeling okay. I was up moving around, but still taking things slow and easy. So on Easter Sunday, April 9th, I decided to take my baby to the store to get him an Easter basket. So, he won't have to miss out on any festivities. So we decided to go to the store. By the time I walked inside the store, I slowly felt my body shutting down. So I told my son, I said, "Come on, Papa." I said, Mommy don't feel good. We're going to get your Easter basket and then we'll go home. My plans was to, take him to the park. We get a little fresh air. But my body was saying something totally different. So when I got in from the store with my son, my body began to break down so bad to the point that I couldn't really make it to my couch. So my daughter, she came in the living room. She saw, I was crying. And right away she knew that I needed to go to the hospital. So luckily, I managed to get to the hospital. By the time I got to the hospital, they had already put me into the back in the ER to triage me. They sent me off to X-ray. So I'm still sitting waiting. Now, normally when I'm, getting my treatment, it's not as long as like another person would go for an ER visit. But this time, I had to go for a second X-ray. So after I got the second X-ray, I didn't have to go to the radiology department. They came to me. So I'm sitting there, patiently waiting. But as I'm patiently waiting, I'm starting to feel shortness of breath, chest pains hurt, my back started hurting even more. So the doctor came in, he told me, he said, "Hey, how are you feeling?" I said, "I'm in a lot of pain." So he explained to me, he said, "Well, we did the X-ray. We see that you have pneumonia. And not only that, we see that you have acute chest." So he said, we're going to go ahead and admit you and, try to get you back well on your feet. You should be okay. So, of course, I prep myself. Anytime I go to the ER, I always prep myself. But this visit, I felt it. Like, it really impacted me. So they sent me up on the floor that I was admitted on. On day 3, I felt like crap. That's when I lost my mobility to even walk to the bathroom because of the pain. It was just too much. So on day 4, I felt even more worse. This time I really can't talk. My breath, I'm losing it, shortness of breath, chest pains, stomach hurting so bad. So I placed a call to my dad, just to talk to him and let him know, like, I'm in a hospital or whatever. So the doctors came upstairs and they explained to me, like, hey, your numbers are dropping, so we might have to transfuse you, but we're gonna, observe you throughout the night and see how everything works in the morning. So I say about 1 o'clock in the middle of the night, the nurse came in. She was like, hey, hon, are you all right? I'm telling her no. I'm like, I feel really, really horrible. So I start crying because the pain in my chest was out of this world. So she placed the call to the hospitalist. So I say about 6 o'clock, I fell asleep. I woke up. 6 o'clock, I see about 2 nurses in my room. They hooking me up to the heart monitor. I see the rapid response team bringing in a whole lot of stuff, a cart, and just a whole bunch of equipment. So at this point, I barely could talk. So I'm just saying, 1 or 2 words at a time maybe. So I remember them packing everything on my bed, rushing me down to x-ray, me having to get an x-ray and then coming back up. So when I came back in the room, they had already changed my entire room, took out certain things, brought in more medical equipment. So they letting me know, they was like, as of now, you're being admitted to ICU. ICU didn't have no beds, so they basically had to convert my whole room into ICU room. This came in, I'll say about 9 o'clock. I was able to text my dad, letting him know that, I need somebody up here with me because things is not looking good at all. So my stepmother, she came up first, and I could just see the look on her face. So I'm like, I must be in the deep woods. Like, things is not looking up the part. So I wrote down on the paper for her to, communicate with my doctors. Because at this point, I'm just exhausted. And I'm just, I don't have the strength to do anything. Just for her to bathe me, like, it was just horrible. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't do anything. I just wanted to lay there to just for me to lay there to catch my breath. It was horrible. So they decided to blood transfuse me. They said that I needed 2 pints of blood. So when they ran the first pint of blood, that made things even more worse. So they decided to stop the blood. The hematologist came back up. She, examined me. She said, well, hey, look, right about now, things is not looking great for you. So we have to go ahead and do what's called the red blood cell exchange. So it's like, basically, she was explaining to me that my spleen was so swollen so bad that it wasn't filtering out the sickle cells properly, which was causing, more pain in my stomach. So basically, it's like my spleen was on the edge of rupturing. My right lung was swollen real bad. My heart was swollen. Every organ you could think of was swollen. So at first, I didn't want to go through with the red blood cell exchange because, number 1, I never had it before. Number 2, I didn't know, what's the pros and the cons behind it. So she explained to me. So I sat there for a minute and I said, you know what? Let me go through it. Anything that's willing to save me so I can go back home to my children, I'm open to it. So the hardest part about this red blood cell exchange is them inserting a catheter on the side of your neck that leads to your heart. Like 3 lines, I believe. So mine was on the left side of my neck. She explained to me that I would have, a keloid. Not too big, but she explained to me that I would have a keloid, and I told her I am familiar with it because I did have to get one when I gave birth to my son. So she explained to me, she said, I'm so sorry to have to put your body through this, but it's gonna, make you better. It's gonna make you feel better. So once she inserted the line in me, they asked if my family could sit outside while they do the procedure. Of course, I started to scream and shout because that stuff it's not painful, but it hurts. So after they started the triple lumen line, the catheter, after they put that in, I want to say maybe about 2 o'clock on April the 17th, that they had to call for someone to come from New York blood bank to come over to put me up on this machine that's basically take out all my blood and replace it back with donated blood. I think all total I received like maybe 8 bags, I want to say. But it's weird because it don't exactly do the same thing as a blood transfusion, but with the red blood cell exchange, it take your blood out. So I provided more information on the slideshow. But other than that, after I received it, I did still feel a little tired. I guess it was from the Benadryl that I had to receive. But after I received it, it's like I had a new body. I felt more stronger. I felt like myself. So I still had to have a nurse in the room with me, I think for 42 hours. And that's when I still had the fever. They still was worried because the fever didn't break. And I was feeling a little cold. The nurse kept telling me I can't sleep with the heating pad because it's making the fever go up higher. So I said, okay. So after that, I want to say 4 days after, that's when I really started to feel better. I started to regain myself. It's like my body felt refreshed. So I was placed on, I think, 4 or 5 different antibiotics again. The infectious disease control doctor, they had to clear me. The cardiologist had to clear me. The endocrinologist, they had to clear me. And my hematologist, they all had to clear me in order for me to go home. So after that, they said, I can go home, but I need rehab. So they reached out to an in-home nursing agency, and I had a visiting nurse. I had a physical therapist because I had to walk with a walker for about, I think, 2 or 3 weeks. So the first day that I got home, I really couldn't even make it upstairs. I wish someone could have picked me up and carried me, or I could have had a wheelchair. But for me to walk from my car all the way upstairs to my apartment, it was hard. It was very hard. But once I started seeing my nurse and the occupational therapist and physical therapist was working with me every week, that's when I slowly started getting myself back together. I told myself I didn't want to, depend on this walker, because it was very difficult getting in the car, getting out the car. So I just paced myself. But eventually I gradually stopped using the walker, and then I started using the cane. I didn't use the cane for too long, maybe about a week. And then after that, that's when I was, back up functioning. But the only difference is this time around, after I got fully sick, I'm fully aware that my sickle cell has advanced. So it's like all the old things that I used to do, like running and doing house chores and, just doing motherly duties, doing everything that I need to do on a day-to-day basis, I realized I had to limit myself. So all the things that I was doing in one day, I had to slice it in half. I would do this day, the next day, I have to give my body time to rest, regroup, and then the next day I'll pick up where I left off. It's very time consuming, and a lot of people don't understand it, because when you have sickle cell, you deal with a lot of fatigue. And it's like right about now, I have my good days and I have my bad days. 1 minute I could have this burst of energy moving around and ripping and running, but then afterwards, when that energy drains all out, I have to be the one to crawl back in bed and cry because I'm in so much pain. A lot of people don't understand what it's like living with sickle cell anemia disease. My kids alone is my motivation. They're my strength. They just my joy. That's what centers me and keeps me calm and give me the strength to want to do more. They understand that the whole situation with sometimes mommy is sick, mommy not feeling good, but I still don't just pry on that. I don't feel good, I don't want to do it. I at least give it a try, even if I can't give it my all. Dealing with sickle cell, especially with this crisis, it opened my eyes even more. My birthday just passed. It was October 10th. And normally I would go out and I'd be so up the beat about, doing stuff. And I just had to take a stand back and just say, I don't want to do anything. I don't want no gifts. I'm just grateful that yet again I beat the odds, because it was not looking good in my favor. But like I said, I'm open to trying different things, and I'm gonna do more, research and see what works, what don't works. But I'm just truly grateful in spite of everything. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you back to see more. You guys stay blessed and have a great day.